The 2023 season is done and dusted. Throughout the season, every driver has been up against 19 other drivers, but mainly against their teammate. Some of them had it easy, like Alex Albon or Max Verstappen. Some of them had a really tough job beating their teammate. I picked out 2 drivers who I didn't expect to beat their teammates. I wonder if you have an idea which drivers I'm talking about, so stick around to find out. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. The good-looking 26-year-old Monegasque, Charles Leclerc, lost to his teammate Carlos Sainz in 2021, but had the better of him in 2022. Not so long ago, I made a video called How Underrated is Carlos Sainz, where I went on a rant about how Sainz is beating his fellow Ferrari driver again and that he had a lot of bad luck, but he was the only driver to win a race in a Red Bull dominant season. He won in Singapore from pole. He scored a nice P3 in the Austin Grand Prix, and before that he finished P3 in Italy. Now I don't know whether I jinxed him or not, but Carlos Sainz has been ass ever since. Well, that's maybe a bit harsh, because it wasn't his fault a drain cover destroyed his car in Las Vegas. It was also not his fault that he received a grid penalty for the new stuff that went on his car. It definitely wasn't his fault that 9 teams didn't mind him starting without the penalty and that one certain team didn't go along and is P2 in the standings now. It was Sainz who crashed his car in FP2 in Abu Dhabi and was knocked out of Q1 in qualifying. The strategy to wait for a safety car in the final stint in Abu Dhabi was quite normal for Ferrari. At the same time, we had 2 brilliant races Charles Leclerc put together in Las Vegas and Abu Dhabi. 2 runner-up spots are pretty much the maximum drivers can get these days, with Max Verstappen winning everything. With those 2 results, Leclerc passed Sainz in the standings, which was something I didn't expect anymore, especially seeing how he couldn't even start in Brazil due to a hydraulic issue that made him crash in the warm-up lap. It's safe to say Charles Leclerc had a fair share of bad luck too this season. Something he complained about over the radio.
I lost the hydraulics. Why the am I so unlucky? Am I so unlucky?
He was also disqualified in Kota for plank wear. With all the noise Team LH was making about Hamilton being disqualified, one would almost forget that Charles Leclerc was also stripped of his result. In Zandvoort, Leclerc DNF'd after contact with Oscar Piastri, so all in all we can conclude that both he and Carlos were pretty unfortunate throughout the season. So that he beat his Spanish teammate was kind of a surprise, even though he's regarded by many as a better driver than Carlos Sainz. It just goes to show you that especially with these long seasons, nothing is certain until the last race, except for Max winning, obviously. The second surprise winner in the inter-team battle this season is Pierre Gasly! The Frenchman was stuck in AlphaTauri for a few years and even had some decent results there, like podiums and a win. With Fernando Alonso suddenly leaving for Aston Martin, a seat became available for Gasly to join his mortal enemy Esteban Ocon. Well, a lot was made out of that transfer due to a bit of history between the 2 French lads. But I have to say they behaved pretty well with each other throughout the season. They had plenty of crashes, but none of them were because they were fighting each other, as far as I can remember. Pierre Gasly settled in that team quite well and beat Ocon in the qualifying battle with 14-8, against a highly regarded feisty teammate who has been at Alpine for years. In the final standings, Gasly beat Ocon by only 4 points. Gasly had a season full of ups and downs, from scoring a P10 to a P14, then a DNF, then a P7, then a P14, and that kept going until he scored a podium in Zandvoort, which must have been the highlight of the season for him.
P3. Let's go! Let's go!
So whenever it was possible, he put that car in a good scoring position. You'd think his team would be pleased for him, right? Well, something could be said about the strategy they gave Gasly in certain races. Places that needed to be given up and weren't given back. You might know that Alpine is a bit like a ship without a captain. Without a team principal and the rest of the troubles up top. but I feel that Ocon, with his years in that team, did get some preferential treatment here and there, which makes it all the more reflect that Gasly came out on top in the inter-team battle. This promises fireworks for the next season, where expectations for Alpine are at an all-time low. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some wheel banging, as we saw between Ocon and Perez at Racing Point, or Ocon and Alonso at Alpine. I can't wait! I'm personally very impressed with the former Red Bull driver, and as with all Max's former teammates, I wish him the best. Did you see a surprise in the inter-team battles this season? Or is there something you'd like to add? Don't be shy, just drop it down in the comments. Subscribe! Take care now, doei doei! A special thanks to my channel members. Your help is much appreciated. If you want to support this channel too, click the link down below.